Hello, my name is Clark Murchison, and I will be doing my novel presentation over the adventures of Tom Sawyer, written by Mark Twain. To give a little bit of information about Mark Twain, Mark Twain is a classical American literature author. He was born on November 30th, 1835 in Florida, Missouri. Most of Mark Twain's influence came from his location around him because while living near the Mississippi River, he was attracted to circuses and steamboats, while on the other hand, there was also a high rate of violence. His relationship with his mother and father were quite opposite because with his mother, she was close more to him while his father was distant and cold. Transitioning into his adult life, Mark Twain he outlived all of his children. He outlived all his children, even his wife. His wife actually died 6 years before him, which is 1904. Mark Twain died in 1910 on April 21st. Moving into the plot of the story, the book is just basically broken down into 33 chapters. The first couple of chapters allows the reader to be able to connect with Tom Sawyer as this mischievous kid, allowing to see from his perspective. While in the first couple of chapters, he is being seen by his Aunt Polly, who is overly protective, and then Tom does something mischievous, which gets him some trouble, which leads him into whitewashing the fence. But while he was not doing this for long, he tricked his friend into whitewashing first, and then later he fell in love with a girl named Vicky. Shortly after this, Tom still was his normal self. He was still disappointed, immature, and everything a kid was. He became, I want to say, an apprentice to a pirate named Joe. And pirates just go on adventures and try to scavenge the treasure and whatnot. As time passed, Tom goes on a picnic with Becky in a cave. This cave is important later because it is a symbol that has a lot to do with Tom. While in the cave, these two got lost, and Becky found their way back to town. But then Tom goes back into the cave with Huckleberry, and they wander around and wind up finding $12,000. And that was basically just all. The characters in the story are Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry, and Huckleberry's father, Aunt Polly, Sally Babs, Tom's aunt. The weakest family, the Grand Ford family, Jim, Miss Watson, Widow Douglas, and Duke. The history behind the adventures of Tom Sawyer is that it's based in realism, and basically the era of realism discussed poverty, exploitation, and slavery. During this time, they usually just discussed the hardships throughout every day. Everyone saw what life was instead of trying to make it better. They perceived it how it was and what they wanted to do with it. Referring back to Mark Twain's childhood location, he was exposed to this at a very young age, so he already knew what to expect from the era of realism. He already experienced it at a young age, which led to the development within his mind that he was already there, so he already knew how to express it to other people. Another point that Mark Twain was trying to reveal to the reader was that basically everybody's imperfection, how everybody's not perfect in a way, but everyone has their single flaw, which makes them different from everybody else. While this may be a bad thing to others, this could actually lead to a good thing. The devices that I saw that was actually stood out most to me was showing off. It's like, I guess, is basically showing off was demonstrated when Tom was with Becky. He was trying to do anything to impress her, and I guess that's what guys do. We try to impress the lady because we want them to think that we're cool, we're good for them, that we can support them, we can provide, we can protect them, and everything. Another little advice, I saw the symbols. I saw several symbols, but the one that stood out most to me was the cave, because this showed the trial between Tom. It showed a trial within Tom. It was either going to determine his immaturity or his maturity, and this trial, it was more important than most of the other symbols, because it's Tom. He's always been this immature kid, and growing up, how would he be? How would he be? Would he be different from what? Would he be different from when he was a kid? Moving on to what I thought about the book was that comprehending the reading was actually hard, because the dialect that Mark Twain incorporated within the book was kind of difficult. I had to read it over and over again. Maybe I had to read some pages out loud, because it was just not my language. I could not read it. I could not read it for whatsoever. And to me, it kind of seemed non-fictional, because I didn't hear about any dragons, any swords fighting or anything. It was just seemed non-fictional. It seemed like something that could have happened. It just seemed just like something that could have happened. And another thing that came to my mind was that it was based around a mischievous child. I mean, I'm still a teenager. I still have mischievous thoughts and whatnot. But as I'm growing up, I'm maturing in a way that Tom should be maturing. But at the end of the story, he's still mischievous. Why read this? Aside from being a literary classic, it has multiple risky adventures, and when I say multiple, and then it has a slight romantic side to it, which actually shows young love to me. Shows young love, and then not even that, but it basically shows the depths. It shows the levels of maturing, struggles of maturing for a guy. Because as we grow up, we don't want to leave the fun and everything. We don't want to put on a suit every day. We don't want to go to get a briefcase and go to work. It's just something we don't want to do. We still want to be young. We want to be free. We want that freedom within ourselves. Well, why read this? Why would you read this? I mean, it's descriptive literature that makes you feel like you're actually in a book. Tom actually puts your thoughts within his thoughts, because when you were a child, we all try to be sneaky, and you can't even lie, we all try to be sneaky, and Tom actually does what we actually thought. This is coming from a kid in a book that was written in the 1800s, and then this kid goes out and has adventures. I mean, what book isn't good? What book can demonstrate all of this? It might not seem like it could be anything, but actually sitting down and reading a book, you actually understand what I am talking about. And that concludes my presentation of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer.